Hello and welcome to Merlin's Manor. Today I'm giving my thoughts on the 2 to 4 player game Dice Manor, which is published by Arcane Wonders. This game's main mechanisms are dice rolling, tile placement, and bidding. Now, full disclosure, I did receive a copy of this game in order to review it. Let's start out with a brief gameplay overview, and then I'll be back with my thoughts on the game. At the start of each turn, everyone will roll all their dice, and then they'll take turns using their dice to bid on various rooms or on the advertising area, or you can use your dice to do a manor tour. You'll choose one number out of the dice you rolled, so maybe this one chose to do their twos, and then you assign all of your dice to various locations. You can assign them all to one place, or you can split them up among other places. So you could do that, or you could do that, or you could even use one of them in your manor. However you want to do that, but you have to use all of that dice number. And for bidding on rooms, you have to match the number that's here. For advertising, whatever is the first number you place that round is going to be the number you'll use to bid on advertising for the rest of that round. So let's say this person put 3 2s there, and we have this person comes over here and bids 3 6s. They are going to actually take over because the 6s are higher than the 2s. So first is the amount of dice. So if they only had 2 6s, then this would still be the situation there, and this one would be winning because there are 3 2s. 3 is bigger than 2. So that's how that works. And let's say that we have this person threw a couple dice down here, but they're still below. What's going to happen at the end of the round is anybody who has dice on a room is going to win that room if they have the most dice there. And ties go to the person that was there first. So if this person came on behind and put 2 there, then because this one was here first, the person there first would win. Anybody who loses the bid on those rooms would get one of these tokens, which I'll explain what that token does later. And so you claim whatever rooms you're able to claim there, and then the person who's highest on the bid track here would move their house 1 2, getting the points from these spaces, so 3 6 points total, like that. Person on the orange would then move it 1 here because they were in second, and they would get to go ahead and get 3 points for having done that. And then the person over here just gets an inspiration token, but then you also get to move your house the number that you bid, the number of dice you bid. So this person bid 3 dice, they go 1 2 3, like that. This person bid 2 dice, they go 1 2. This person also bid 2 dice, so 1 2, like that. And what's going to happen is once these two cross paths, like let's say on the next turn I did that and they met, I would then get this dice to add to the amount of dice I had to be able to play in the future. And so that's the basics of how a round is going to go. What you're going to be able to get rooms. You're going to be able to move up on the advertising if you bid on that. If you miss something, you get inspiration tokens, which these are able to allow you to move your dice up or down by 1. You can move from 6 to a 1 and 1 to a 6 that way as well. So it gives you a little bit of mitigation there. And so if you lose, you at least get that consolation prize of being able to use that token. If you are giving a tour, then the numbers on the dice must match the numbers on the rooms. Now, some of these have multiple numbers, like this can be a 3 or a 6. Some have question marks, which means that you can use any number for that. So let's say I had rolled 3 6s. I could go 1, 2, and either here or here. I guess I would choose there. And then, according to this, I get 5 victory points for having placed 3 on the turn. Now, if those 3 had kind of been like this instead, I would actually split that into 2 tours. One that was a 2 dice, which would give me 2 points, and one that would give me just a inspiration token there. And of course, these have to be adjacent to something that's already placed. So if I had, let's say if I had this situation going on and then I had rolled 2 4s like this, I could put 1 4 here, but I could not put this 4 here because that room doesn't yet have a dice in it. And so I'd have to use it somewhere else. I could put it here. Of course, I would be splitting the tours into 2 as well in that manner. Now, at the end of each round, you claim your rooms or get inspiration tokens for rooms you didn't win, move down the advertising tracks, and score victory points for the spaces on the track. And you score 1 victory point for each dice in your manor. The game plays for 4 standard rounds, like this, and then on the 5th round is a special round where you are going to do a grand tour. You'll no longer be bidding on rooms or advertising, but instead focus on putting dice in your manor as your tours to try to score the most victory points. You'll still roll all dice and choose one number to play all dice of that number, and any dice that you cannot place of that number will be lost as unhappy guests. At the end of this round, you will score 3 points per die you are able to place in your manor. You will also score points for having a majority for each color of room, a bonus for having unique room types, and for having the largest manor, plus 1 point for every 2 inspiration tokens left over. Majorities and largest manor give points for both first and second place, and the person with the most victory points wins the game. Let's start out by talking about the art and components. The art and components are fairly basic for this game. Nothing really stands out. The rooms themselves are made of thick cardboard and are really colorful. You have basic wooden pieces and you have 9 dice per color. The central board does include this dual layer board for tracking victory points, which is pretty good because it keeps those in there for you. Now let's get into the ease of access. This game is very easy to learn and has pretty basic gameplay. You roll dice, you use all the dice of a single number to either bid or to add dice to your manor for a tour to score some points. You rinse and repeat this process until everyone is out of dice. Then you award rooms and advertising perks to those who bid highest and award points for moving up on the advertising tracks and dice placed in the manor. Pretty simple. And as you are doing tours, you also get points based on how many dice you placed in a consecutive path. And there's a handy player aid to help you to score your points there and to see what all you're going to be scoring points at the end of the game for. And so not too difficult to learn and to play, and that player aid really helps you to keep track of everything that you're going to be doing. Now let's talk about the gameplay. I enjoy the gameplay. It is a simple, light game, but it does have some depth of strategy. Do you place a bunch of dice in one place to ensure that you win that thing? Or do you spread out a little, hoping to win more bids? Do you focus on advertising to get points as well as access to more dice? Or focus more on getting rooms? At what point do you pivot and start doing more room tours in order to score points? And if you have a bunch of dice that can go on a tour and score you a good number of points, do you do that? Or do you try to get more rooms first and forego that instant gratification of points to perhaps get even more points later on? At all times, you do have to be aware of how you are doing towards those end game bonus points by getting various types of rooms while also trying to be competitive in the color majorities and vying for largest mansion. You also want to be aware of the numbers on the rooms that you are bidding for and try to get numbers that are the same as other numbers that you've already gotten, and strive to place numbers in such a way in your manner that you will be able to chain together to facilitate being able to place down multiples of the same number all at once to be able to score more points. And so that you can hopefully place all of your dice when you do that final grand tour in order to maximize your points in the final round. I'm not always the biggest fan of bidding games, but the bidding mechanic in this game is interesting and light as you are placing down dice to bid and simply trying to have a majority of the dice on that given bidding space. There are also benefits that you claim when you fail to win a bid. Advertising still moves your extra dice down, plus you get a token to use to manipulate your dice later in the game. If you fail to win a room, you also get one of those inspiration tokens. And those tokens not only make your ability to bid more versatile, but also can be instrumental to your tours, and especially to your grand tour and scoring the max points there on that grand tour. This game is not a super deep game, but it is a fun, light filler game that does not overstay its welcome, coming in at about 40 minutes per game for us. There's also a simple 2-player variant that you may want to check out on Board Game Geek, which makes bidding and endgame bonuses a little bit more competitive. I'll leave a link in the description below for you to check that out. Now let's talk about theme for a moment. The theme itself is not the most interesting theme to me, and I don't think it's fully fleshed out in the gameplay either. But for this kind of game, I don't feel the theme needs to be all that strong. After all, it's just a quick little dice chucking game with a simple bidding mechanism. Next, let's talk about replayability. Any game with a bunch of randomness from whatever dice you roll and what each person is going to be able to do on a given turn is going to leave a decent amount of replayability just from the randomness alone. At the end of the day, I do expect that if you are playing this game a lot, it could get stale and feel a little samey. But if this is a game that you pull out from time to time for a lighter palate cleanser or for a game to play when you want something simple and quick, then this game will hold up for quite a while. And this is certainly a game you could come back to from time to time and not have to do too much relearning with how simple and intuitive the gameplay is. Now let's get into final thoughts. Dice Manor is a simple, light dice bidding game. I give it a 7 out of 10. It is a good game, nothing mind-blowing here. As someone who's not always fond of bidding games, I found the way bidding is implemented in this game to be enjoyable. It can be fun to build out your manor in a strategic manner to be able to later have some great tours. And when you manage to pull off some good tours, it can be very satisfying. Finding a balance between going after instant points in the early to mid game versus building out your manor more for bigger point opportunities later on and to be competitive for endgame bonuses can be a satisfying process. This is not a huge strategy game that should be taken super seriously, but it does provide a quick, fun experience, and I can certainly recommend this game if you like light dice chucking experiences. I hope this review has given you something to think about. I hope you've enjoyed this review and you'll check out some more of my videos, and I'll catch you in the next one.